The US stock market has performed relatively well here in 2025 despite several macroeconomic headwinds and geopolitical tension worldwide. That being said, there's increasing risk to the US stock market because of those headwinds highlighted earlier. Still, I think investors buying undervalued businesses and holding them long term will perform well in increasing their wealth and giving themselves a chance to improve their wealth long term. In that regard, I'm going to highlight three undervalued stocks that you can buy right now, even through this economic turmoil.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So, one of the ways I determine if a stock is undervalued or not is by calculating a discounted cash flow valuation for a business. What this valuation does and what you're looking at here is it takes in the present value of all of the cash flow I expect the business will generate between today and the very, very long term. I estimate those cash flows, apply a discount rate, and calculate a valuation for a business. That's my proprietary discounted cash flow model you're looking at here. The stock I'm looking at here and the stock I'm recommending first is Reddit, the social media company. So, the present value of all of the free cash flow I expect Reddit will generate between now and the very long run is just over $22 billion. And the weighted average cost of capital, or the discount rate I'm applying to Reddit, is 12.76%. Now, Reddit has done an excellent job growing the business very lucratively because the social media, the user generated content business model is a very lucrative business model. Reddit doesn't pay users to engage on the platform. It just happens organically, and Reddit benefits from that organic interaction between the users on its platform. The more time people spend on the platform, the more advertisements are shown, and the more revenue Reddit generates. This is high margin revenue. And on top of that, Reddit is benefiting from selling the content that's on the platform to train and develop large language models. Artificial intelligence thrives on more data, and there's a lot of data created on the Reddit platform from users engaging with each other. And so the developers of large language models are keen to pay Reddit for that data. So, for that reason, I like Reddit's business model. I like their long term prospects, and calculating the fair value of the business, I find that this business should be worth $183 per share, but investors can buy this business today at $139 a share, signaling that this business is undervalued at the current market price. Of course, there are always risks with any business you're investing in, and there are risks that some of these estimates I've used are too high or too low, and that the valuation should be different than what I've calculated. But still, even incorporating a margin of safety, I find this business is undervalued. The next business I'm calculating here and suggesting that it's undervalued and recommending as a buy is McDonald's. The present value of all of the free cash flow I expect McDonald's will generate between today and the very long run is over $323 billion. The weighted average cost of capital, or discount rate I've applied, is 7.4%. And the risks with McDonald's stock is less than the risk with Reddit because McDonald's does relatively well in all macroeconomic scenarios. If you think about the average customer that goes to McDonald's, when McDonald's and when the macroeconomy goes through difficult times and people are losing their jobs, some of the lower income customers visit McDonald's less often. But those customers and those visits are replaced with some higher income customers that trade down from other restaurants and go to McDonald's instead when they choose to eat out because McDonald's is one of the more affordable options when you're choosing to eat out. Now, you can argue the quality of the food is not very good, and I would agree with you in that regard, but sometimes people just need to eat out because they don't have time to cook and they just need to have a meal, and McDonald's is an option for those individuals in those circumstances, in those situations. And so the intrinsic value per share I calculated for McDonald's is $381. The current market price is $287. So you can buy McDonald's stock at an undervaluation today, given the prospects of the business longer term. One of the things I'm most excited about with McDonald's is how technology is expanding its reach. Previously, you can only eat McDonald's for the most part when you leave your house. Either you pick it up in the drive-through window or you go inside and you make an order. But with the increase in food delivery options driven by the popularity of food delivery and the popularity of platforms like DoorDash and Uber Eats and others, people now can have McDonald's without leaving their homes, and that expands the reach of McDonald's worldwide. Additionally, you've got new technology coming out like the driverless delivery options, and you don't even have to go with Uber or DoorDash. You have these little robots in Los Angeles. You see them everywhere. These little robots that take food from restaurants and deliver them to people. And these are driverless robots. And that technology also expands the reach of restaurants like McDonald's to reach people and potentially at lower cost. So it's really exciting times for McDonald's, a company that hasn't had exciting innovation in a very long time, but in the last 5 years, very exciting innovation for McDonald's coming out with the improvements in technology and harnessing that technology to make its food more accessible in more instances. And last but not least, Lockheed Martin Corporation. Now, unfortunately, there's been an increase in geopolitical tension in recent years. You've got the Russian invasion of Ukraine. You've got the recent hostilities between Israel and Iran, and the region increasing turmoil all over that region in the Middle East. And so you've got the United States cutting back on its support of NATO and increasing and encouraging the European economies to increase their budgets so that they can spend more defending themselves, all of which leads to more spending on militaries and more spending on military equipment. And that's positive for Lockheed Martin Corporation. The present value of all of the free cash flow I expect this business to generate is over $168 billion. The discount rate I've applied for Lockheed Martin is 7.4%. Lockheed Martin is even less risky than a business like McDonald's because Lockheed Martin, its revenue does not depend on economic performance. It does not depend on if GDP is growing or if economies are declining or if unemployment is rising. Countries spend money on their militaries regardless of the state of the economy. And so that lower correlation between the state of the economy and Lockheed Martin's revenues makes it a less risky business because it's less cyclical. It doesn't depend on economic performance. And so it has a very low beta. And even though I've adjusted the beta higher, right, the beta organically is much lower than the 0.525 I have indicated here because I multiplied the company's beta times 1.75 to increase the beta by 75% to account for the fact that the correlation between itself and the macroeconomy, as reflected in its beta, is very, very low. But that doesn't mean there aren't other risks in the business. And I wanted to account for those risks by applying a 75% adjustment upward to its beta. So even after I adjusted upward its weighted average cost of capital, I still found the business to be undervalued. The intrinsic value per share I calculated is $644, and the current market price is only $470. So I've highlighted three undervalued stocks you can buy now, but that doesn't mean that these stocks will not experience volatility. It's very likely that they will experience volatility regardless of the risk level. The higher the risk, the more volatility. I would forecast Reddit experiencing the most volatility of the three stocks I mentioned here, and Lockheed Martin to experience the least risk, the least volatility in their stock price of the 3 stocks I mentioned here. Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I know there's a lot you could be doing with your time and a lot of other videos you could be watching. So I truly appreciate that you chose to watch this one. If you want to see more videos just like this, hit the subscribe or the like button. They'll both help me make more videos just like this one. Thank you again.